Yeah.
Hey everyone, it's BTaker72 here, and for today's video, we are going to be covering Sakurai's final and last Famitsu column he has ever written, and I have to say, it has been quite a very long time since I basically cover any sort of this, but since this will be the final Famitsu column made by Sakurai, he decided to go in-depth on not just the future of Smash Brothers, but also the development of each DLC character one by one. I gotta say, there's gonna be a lot of things to talk about regarding about it, but with that, I really hope these all answer your questions, whether or not there's gonna be a new Smash Brothers game, or, you know, if you guys are really interested on how the development for every DLC character does. So with that, let's just not waste time, let's get straight into Sakurai's last and final Famitsu column. So right here, this article right here was translated by Push Dustin and Cody Nokolo. The article first states, Sakurai starts out by stating the time between projects, the most is the most peaceful. He can do what he likes and mentions what he wants to go on a trip. The first question is about Sora's position in the Smash ballot. Sakurai, there were a ton of votes from all over the world, however, Sora quickly became the most requested fighter. And then there are a few questions right here, such as, can you tell us more about Sora's concept? In Kingdom Hearts, Sora doesn't really fight on the ground that often, he mostly fights in the air. I wanted to replicate that in Smash. For the other DLC fighters, they don't have any aerial combat, so I figure I should prioritize that with Sora. Sakurai, in fact, the original plan for Smash Ultimate, that there were some considerations for adding Smash attacks in the air. It was too complicated, so it didn't get added. I think aerial combat was important, but the options for aerial attack were quite limited. So, I'm very intrigued on who the other characters were supposed to be if this plan of having smash attacks in the air might happen, since Sora is basically one of the few characters that is like an airborne fighter and can attack in the air. I wonder who the other characters might be if they still have that concept. It's a pretty interesting thing to really talk about, but I just hope that might get implemented in the future. Sakurai then goes on to state, the more skilled the player is, the more they use aerial attacks. I decided against it because I felt like Smash Ultimate was able to keep the balance between casual and hardcore players. Sora's concept was to make aerial fighting fun even for casual players. I was also in charge of Sora's reveal trailer. Once I read over the guidelines provided by Disney, I came up with the plan in about 90 minutes. So yeah, that confirms it once again. For those who think Sora is owned by Square Enix, Disney is the one who owns all of the Kingdom Hearts characters, but Square Enix are the ones who develop the Kingdom Hearts games. I just gotta let it, for those who don't really know much about this character or who he's really owned by, but I just want to get that fact out of the way. In the original concept, Mario would have swung a keyblade to open the door, but because only keyblade wielders can use a keyblade, it was changed to its current form. Now, I find this a bit interesting on how it's going to add to the lore. Look, Kingdom Hearts story, and especially the lore, is such a mess a lot, but all I can say is that I was very intrigued on how Mario was able to use the keyblade, even though he wasn't able to use it in the reveal trailer itself. But since Sakurai stated that only keyblade wielders can wield the keyblade, I guess it makes sense why Kirby doesn't really use it on whenever he gets Sora's powers, and I really am intrigued on how Mario can really use a keyblade. I guess Sakurai and Square Enix and Disney wants to stay in the lore between Kingdom Hearts and especially everything else. Like I said, the whole plot is confusing, but let's just move on from all that. So right here, this is when Sakurai talks about the concept of all of the DLC characters for the first and second Fighters Pass. Joker's concept was a difficult time for Sakurai as the base game was just being finished. In addition, Sakurai had to decide on the general plan for DLC like graphics and animation. Arsene fighting with Joker also doubled the work. For Smash Fighters, Sakurai poses figures for all their moves. Because of Arsene's, Joker was posed with 2 figures. And here you can see an image on the models showing off Joker being the small one and the big one represent Arsene. You know, I find it a bit really laughable to see what the models look like without imagining the characters' designs in it. It looks pretty great to see the concept of how you're supposed to make a model, you know, with all the poses and all. Like, this is a really interesting image to look at when it comes to conceptualizing every character. For the hero, Sakurai was excited to have Dragon Quest in Smash. At first, he thought that hero wouldn't be voiced, but in Dragon Quest XI-S, a voice was added. So he decided with Square Enix to include official voices and names for each hero. Now, that's kind of interesting, because a while back during the hero presentation, it was stated that Erdrick's name was actually just Arasu, while the character from the latest Dragon Quest entry, like Dragon Quest XI being named 11, everyone thought it would be Luminary or something like that. But no, it's really, I find that actually more interesting than I thought. Let's continue with Banjo and Kazooie. Sakurai. In the Fighter's Ballad, Banjo and Kazooie followed Sora. The concept was the two fighting as one. Wonder Wing is a move that's unique to them too, as it's the only move that can be used up to 5 times. Because of that, it's very strong. So now we know who was one of the top 5 characters in the Smash Ballad. Since Bayonetta was the first place character in Europe, she was also one of the top 5 characters in, like, I guess, in the West. But we don't really know who the other characters were, aside from Sora being number 1. I guess it confirms that Banjo was number 2. Now makes me question who was number 3, 4, and 5, and makes me wonder of where Bayonetta's placement was. Anyways, Banjo and Kazooie also featured the first arrangement from outside of Japan, with Grant Kirkhope, who worked on the original game for music for their game. And then here's a fun comment. I was happy to see the similarities in Banjo's fighter trailer to King K. Rool's. It was not only enjoyable, but it also helped keep the cost of the production down. The reveal trailers are more expensive than people imagine. I can definitely tell given how very beautifully CGI these trailers are, especially with Sephiroth's. Next is Terry. Bandai Namco produced his reveal trailer. There was a scene with Geese that was taken from Fatal Fury 3. The person in charge of that also worked on the game Genpei Tomaden. I feel like I mispronounced that, so I'm sorry. Sakurai's goal was to make the coolest Terry Bogard ever. There might have been some younger fans who didn't know Terry, but that wasn't important. It was vital that they could understand character due to Smash. And Violet. When development started on them, Three Houses wasn't even released yet. Even with a development build, it took Sakurai a lot of time to get the game through. When Sakurai played, it was top secret. Other employees couldn't see his screen, and he couldn't bring that build of the game home. Now that is just very sneaky of Sakurai to do it, but now it really makes me think that what could have been the other character for the 5th character for the 5th fighter in the first Fighters Pass if Violet wasn't really chosen. And I wasn't too sure why Violet was chosen in the first place. Don't get me wrong, I love Violet, I really like Fire Emblem a lot since then, and I just want to say that even then, I really am confused on how Violet was even chosen. I mean, sure, it was to promote Three Houses, but I wonder what other characters could have been chosen if Violet wasn't the 5th character. I don't know, really. And now we get to the second thread of the last Famitsu column with the second Fighters Pass. Here we got Springman was an assist trophy because he couldn't make it in the base game as a fighter. For a DLC character, Sakurai felt that the Law Arms were the key to making a fighter who feels like they're from ARMS. Now, I mean, if you guys want more context, Springman wasn't really a character, like I said, because it was due to the fact that ARMS and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 were announced very late, since the base roster for Ultimate was already completed since then. But even so, even though I don't like Min Min as a character, I can still at least be glad that ARMS actually at least gets themselves a fighter representative, because if Splatoon gets one, so can ARMS. For Steve and Alex, adding the code for blocks on every stage was quite tough and took some time. Enderman also caused some trouble as they blended in with dark backgrounds. Sakurai made multiple quizzes asking the staff where Enderman was located on various screenshots. Now, I mean, I can definitely tell the programmer had a very hard time making the entire model, and especially, working on the whole blocks on every single stage. I can tell Steve, even though he has a very simple design, was a difficult character to even, develop as a playable fighter. So, kudos to Sakurai and the team for making Steve from Minecraft happening in the first place anyways. I still am in disbelief that even after an entire year, Steve is straight up in Smash Bros. I'm just still in disbelief. Next is Sephiroth. His appearance in Advent Children was an important base. Sakurai was worried about the reach of his sword, but figured if Min Min was okay, Sephiroth would be doable. He worried about balancing, but wanted to make sure Sephiroth left a strong impression. You know, I stated on Twitter, but all I can say is that even though Sephiroth's sword is super long, I'm surprised they didn't shorten it out. The range itself of Sephiroth's Masamune is just terrifying to say at least, but he is still a fun character to play as, even if his range of his sword can be a bit terrifying to even dodge at some matches. For Pyra and Mithra, Sakurai wanted Rex to appear with them at first, but it didn't work due to hardware limitations, as he also stated a while back when Pyra and Mithra was also introduced. The costumes are pretty detailed, so just the two of them pushed the game's limits. Smash Ultimate you should consistently run at 60 FPS. Having Pyra and Mithra appear in 8-player Smash was difficult. If Sakurai had to pick one, he would have picked Pyra. There were several other considerations to make the final work, like one that was just Rex with Pyra sometimes, Pyra Rex sometimes, just Pyra, etc. I find that, the fact that when he says that makes me really wish that Rex was a playable character at some point, but hey, you can really have everything, so I mean, look, I really like Pyra and Mithra, even though I never played that much Xenoblade Chronicles, even though I never played Xenoblade Chronicles 2. All I can say is that I am interested in the concept of having just Pyra and Mithra, I'm just Pyra, rather than just, having both Pyra and Mithra at the same time, or just having Rex in general. I don't know, but I can say is that they really did a good job on not really breaking the entire game's limitations. For Kazuya, Sakurai wanted to capture the 3D fighting game spirit. If the fighter wasn't Kazuya with his Devil Gene, Tekken wouldn't work in Smash. For example, if it was Heihachi, what would his up be? What would his up be? Nothing. Sakurai felt really fortunate to have settled with Kazuya. Even though Heihachi has appeared in a lot of crossover games like, PlayStation All-Stars and, Soul Calibur, I can at least say the safe bet for Kazuya being in Smash Bros. Was a neat choice. Even though he's a villain nowadays, he was considered to be the protagonist. So, I can say that Kazuya was more of the mascot, the original mascot of Tekken, right before Heihachi became popular. I can say that Tekken finally gets some love, and I really am appreciative from that. And now to end things off, before we get to the final segment about the future of Smash Bros., Sakurai also talks about the Sakurai Presents videos he does with almost every fighter. For the Sakurai Presents videos, they came up after Joker's introduction video cost a lot of dollars and time to make. Nintendo came up with the idea of Sakurai Presented the fighters. Each character would introduce something unique, so it was important to have for them to have presentations. You know what? I did not mind having Sakurai Presents for almost the entire roster of the entire DLC lineup, because it adds a nice charm to Sakurai, and hearing his normal voice instead of the English translator is a really nice change of pace this time, and it really adds a very comedic charm to Sakurai, and especially introducing the fighters way more detailed, and I really like that. But now we get to the big one, and that's the fact that about what's really gonna happen to the future of Smash Bros. Many speculated that Ultimate may be the last Smash game, but some did not lose hope for another entry. So in the Source Gaming website where they discussed the future of Smash Bros., here we got an interviewer asking this: with the release of Smash Ultimate, you've taken the series as far as it can go. The amount of content in the game, could it be more? I know it's difficult to answer this question, but is it possible to follow up Smash Ultimate? Sakurai says this: it's impossible, impossible, impossible. And then the interviewer laughs, but then Sakurai decides to say this: first off, I'm not thinking about making a sequel. That said, that is my thought process with every installment of Smash Bros. I always think that this will be the last Smash Bros. I'll ever make, and yet I continue to make new installments. In that sense, I can't definitively say that this is the last Smash game. There is many possibilities in the future, and there is the possibility for a future Smash Bros. However, it is clear that we have reached our limits in many ways, and we need to think about it, whether it's disappointing fans by cutting down on the number of fighters and other content just in order to release the next installment. And you may think that's all. Sakurai also says this: as in the case with many series, it's important to consider where there is someone who can take over the original creator when the original creator is no longer around. The other day, Takao Saito, the creator of Golgo 13, has passed away, and it was announced that work would continue on the production. But the decision might have been different if it was a manga like Berserk. The more of a work depends on its authorship, the more difficult it is to ensure the continuation. And at the very least, I don't see any way for Smash Bros. To produce without my involvement. For example, the Challenger approaching trailers would have not been the same level of quality if it wasn't produced by an outside firm. Also, it is not if some staff member has been accumulating the know-how to Smash Bros. It would be difficult to capture the essence of various game titles and combine them into a spec document. For starters, no one other than me has served as the director or planned the inclusion of new fighters. Given these conditions, I have seriously considered whether or not the game will succeed if I entrust the job on them. So, oh my goodness, that was a lot of things I had to say about it. So, yeah, that's a really good point of what Sakurai has stated. I mean, sure, many speculated that there may be a Smash Bros. Game where it could just be not directed by Sakurai and maybe someone else that could, stay the spirit of Smash Bros. But Sakurai does have a point. Without him, then, what would really capture the essence of Smash Bros.? And it's not to say that I don't want him to, make a Smash Bros. Game. I'm not saying that. I want Sakurai and the Smash team to take a very long break at this point. And you know what? I don't really mind having less content in the next Smash Bros. Installment. I don't care if it's just 30 fighters or, 40 stages. I'm at least glad that the Smash Bros. Series can still live on if Nintendo decides to, make another Smash game in the next 10 years or so. And you know what? Given how Sakurai says that Smash Bros. Might not be the same without him directing, it really gave me a hard decision on really what to just say. But all I want to know, guys, is let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this. What do you think of Sakurai just explaining the development on all of the DLC fighters? And what do you really think about Sakurai's words on a future Smash Bros. Installment? Do you really think this Ultimate would just be the last Smash Bros. Game? Or do you really think that Sakurai and the Smash team might continue it? But I just want to know what you guys think if there was a Smash game, if it wasn't directed by Sakurai. There's a lot of things to really ask, but I want to know all your opinions down below. And so with that, leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more videos, follow my Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember this: once a legend, always a legend. Like a Hellcat.